Hey guys, in today's video I would like to talk about choosing the proper oil for your Audi, Seat, Volkswagen or Skoda car. Now, as you may probably know, Audi and Volkswagen Group recommend Castrol. Now, there are dozens of types of Castrol oils, so it's really tough to choose the right oil for your engine. And of course, it depends on the type of the engine that you have, diesel, gasoline, turbocharged, naturally aspirated, etc. Let's start with diesel engines. Now, generally speaking, Audi and Volkswagen have these lubrication requirements for diesel engines. We have VW504, VW507 and VW505. There are other oil requirements as well. If you take a closer look, we have other oil requirements for gasoline engines. So pay attention to the oil that you're using. If you take a closer look at this bottle, we have Castrol Edge 5W30, but on the back of the bottle we have VW504 and VW507, which is for diesel engines. If you take a closer look on the bottle, you will see that the brands are marked with black, and black generally stands for diesel. So don't use this bottle in gasoline engines, even if Castrol states beneath 5W30 that this oil is for gasoline and diesel cars. It's kind of misleading. So again, for a diesel engine, let's say you have an Audi A3 with a 2-liter turbocharged diesel engine which has a common rail injection, and you want to use the right oil and you live in the United States. You should use 5W40 Castrol Edge Turbo Diesel, which looks like this. It's a 5W40, and we have on the back of the bottle we also have several approvals from other brands as well, and if you take a closer look, we have VW502, VW504 and VW507. We also have 50501, which is generally used for PD engines or with pump unit injectors. Really important. Also, from what I'm seeing on this bottle, we can use this 5W40 even in gasoline engines. We have VW502, so we can use that over here in gasoline engines which require 50200. So again, it's misleading. This oil, which states turbo diesel, can be also used in gasoline engines. My dad uses this oil in his Skoda Octavia, which has a 1.9 turbocharged diesel engine with pump unit injectors. So if you have an Audi with pump unit injectors, you should take a closer look at the oil you're using. If it's not Castrol, you should have VW50501. You can find this information on castrol.com. And I'm not sponsored by Castrol anyways. So if you have a diesel, use this oil, it's best. Now you can use other oils with these oil requirements. You can use 5W30, 5W40 and 10W40. For diesel engines, I would go with 5W30 and 5W40. 10W40 should be used only if your engine has a lot of mileage or you used your car in an extremely hot area. Otherwise, I would stick to the 5W40, which is this little guy showed you earlier, 5W40 turbo diesel. Now, if we go to the gasoline side, if we go to the gasoline area in Volkswagen Audi, things change. Volkswagen Group generally recommends 5W30 for most of their engines, but that's not really what you should use. I would use 5W30 if my car is brand new. Otherwise, I would stick to 0W40, and it doesn't really matter where you live, it's a great oil. And if your engine consumes oil, I have a bit of trouble with oil consumption in my own car. It used to consume around 1 liter every 2,000–3,000 kilometers, which was a lot. It wasn't exceeding the maximum allowed oil consumption, but it was still a lot. And I switched to this oil, which is 10W60 supercar. And this oil is thicker compared to other oils. I have here the values from castrol.com, and why I'm using this. It's allowed. I have on the back approval Volkswagen 50101, which is this one, and I also have Volkswagen 50500, which I forgot to write right here. My own car is an A3, which has 1.6 gasoline engine, and it requires VW 500 to 00, VW 50100, or VW 50500. And as I wrote here, at least one of these oil requirements should be written on the back of the bottle. And if it's written there, you can use the oil. In my case, I have this little guy over here, so I can definitely use this oil, which is 10W60. Since I've been using this oil, the oil consumption has dramatically decreased. My car now consumes around 0.5 liters from oil service to oil service, so I've gone from 1 liter per let's say 2,000 kilometers. I've gone to 0.5 liters per around 12,000 kilometers, which is a huge improvement. So my engine is just fine, it just didn't receive the right oil. When I took a look at the bottles that my car had when I bought it, the previous owner was using this oil, which is 5W30, but again, it's for diesel engines. And this is what happens when you use an oil which is recommended for a diesel and you put it in a gasoline engine. You have lubrication, but not the proper one. And the engine will tend to consume oil and it won't run properly. Also, wear will increase. The engine block is different, the engine is designed differently, so we need to use the proper oil. Now I would like to talk a bit about oil viscosities and what they mean. In 0W30, the viscosity at 100 degrees Celsius is 11.2 centistokes. This means that the oil is pretty watery, it flows pretty quickly through the engine. If the oil is too thick, like this one, oil will flow slowly and you won't have the proper lubrication. This oil 10W60 that I'm using should be used in hot areas, or if you drive aggressively, you need to have extra lubrication. Oil does not heat up just until 100 degrees, it heats up at around 110–120 degrees Celsius. And at 120 degrees Celsius, you will have the viscosity that 5W30 has over here and at 100 degrees. So if you drive on the highway or at high RPM or drive aggressively, the oil will heat up and the oil will be too watery. And you don't want to have an oil which is too watery. You need to have an oil which is balanced between watery and viscous. So that's why the 5W40 is ideal. It's just between a thin oil and a thick oil. Now 0 stands for the pour point of the oil, or the maximum allowed temperature for that oil. In our case, it has -57 degrees Celsius. I don't know where you can drive at that temperature, but that's its limit. For 5W we have minus 39 degrees Celsius, and for 10 we have minus 25 degrees Celsius. Now there are areas around the world where temperatures drop below minus 25 degrees, so 5W should be just fine. However, even if let's say we live in an area where there are minus 39 degrees, having an oil with 0W will allow the engine to start faster, easier. The oil is thinner, so it will help. Even if we don't reach its limit, having a 0W oil or a thinner oil will help us start the engine easier. And as I was saying, these are the values in centistokes of the oil at 100 degrees Celsius. 30, 11.2, 40, 13.7, 60, 22.7. That's why in diesel engines, this little guy isn't used. It's too viscous. That's why most diesel engines are using 5W30 or 5W40 or 0W40, the best option I would say if you live in a cold area. So as an all-arounder, an oil which should be used in almost any engine, 5W40 or 5W30 for diesel engines, and I would use 5W40 or 0W40 for gasoline. In some exceptions, even for Audi, you can use that 10W60, but this oil isn't really approved for all the engines. From what I've seen, you can use 10W60. I really love this oil. You can use this oil in my 1.6 engine multi-point injection. You can use this in the 1.6 FSI direct injection engine, 2.0 direct injection FSI, 2.0 turbocharged this gasoline engine with 200 horsepower, and even in the 3.2 VR6 engine you can use these oils. Where you can't use the 10W60, you can't use this in the 1.2 or 1.4 or 1.0 turbocharged gasoline engines currently used on the A1 and A3. The oil is too thick, and this oil isn't approved for these engines. Again, you don't have to use Castrol, you can use any brand, but any brand which satisfies the lubrication requirements given directly by the manufacturer. These requirements for diesel and these requirements for gasoline. So this is what you should know about Castrol and oils for Audi, Volkswagen, Seat or Skoda cars. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Subscribe if you haven't already for more videos, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Hey guys, in today's video I would like to talk about choosing the proper oil for your Audi, Seat, Volkswagen or Skoda car. Now, as you may probably know, Audi and Volkswagen Group recommend Castrol. Now, there are dozens of types of Castrol oils, so it's really tough to choose the right oil for your engine. And of course, it depends on the type of the engine that you have, a diesel, gasoline, turbocharged, naturally aspirated, etc. Let's start with diesel engines. Now, generally speaking, Audi and Volkswagen have these lubrication requirements for diesel engines. We have VW504, VW507 and VW505. There are other oil requirements as well. If you take a closer look, we have other oil requirements for gasoline engines. So pay attention to the oil that you're using. If you take a closer look at this bottle, we have Castrol Edge 5W30, but on the back of the bottle we have VW504 and VW507, which is for diesel engines.